Hey guys, welcome back to Content is Profit. And this is a very special one. You're going to hear somebody in this call. It was the first time in the Business Creator Club. And you've heard it before in Content is Profit. She's been a guest, incredible person that teaches people how to monetize with tiny audiences. But not only that, she's currently working in a very big project that came out of her own framework, which is exciting. And she joined us like from the street with like this like burning question that she had about this like new market that she's exploring in the car dealership world. So we go into detail and case studies, and she's explaining what she's doing there to gain success, but also how she identified a key need in that market. And she's like now collecting information to create an offer around it. So we brainstorm a bunch of ideas. We go over a couple of frameworks, and is basically she's trying to extract value from a few people that can make a very big difference in this industry. So I think it's super exciting to kind of bring this case study here. Fonzie also goes over the PP board, something that we haven't brought up in a very, very long time, and it's super useful. So I think it's very, very relevant about like how to identify the problems, and then how do we frame it into pleasures for our audience. And we also go about the tiny challenge framework, which is not a framework of ours. It's something that we're about to probably start testing with our community. And we break it down. We say like who it's coming from. And I think that could be like really good. We actually go over an example with Ina, how she can apply today. And her reaction was priceless. So I think with this case study, you're going to get a ton of it. And root for Ina because she's killing it out there. And hopefully you guys can get a very bunch of ideas. Do I actually say that? So you guys can get a ton of ideas to kind of implement in your own business. Enjoy.
A few months ago, you guys know, I started serving car dealerships. And I've met some really good people. I actually have a booth at a major conference in Las Vegas next week.
Nice.
I know, it's sweet. It's amazing. I've branded myself as the auto social gal.
Yeah.
So I have my dinky little website that I made in like a day just to like have something out there. But I'm basically doing social media consulting, social media management, and just social media coaching for car dealerships and car salespeople. And I am trying to really define what the message of it is. So now that we're talking about like exactly what to say and exactly like, what this is, it's kind of dawned on me that there are, out of all car salespeople, only 21% of them are women. And if you are scrolling through social media, you're going to find a lot of car sales dudes, right? And the girls are there. The women are there. And some of them are really like kicking butt and taking names, posting. But most of them, they hide. They hide behind their dealership accounts, right? Like they basically become the default social media person at their store. And I remember being in that kind of like corporate male environment where I was the default woman planning lunches and like, and I'm talking about lunch. Like, what is everybody going to have on Monday, right? Like, I'd be like the default, like admin, because like, oh, the girl will do it, right? So I sometimes feel like that's kind of what the girl in the store ends up being. And it's not to build their own brand. And by the way, I've never actually said these things out loud. Like as I'm talking to you, I'm like realizing this. I'm like, maybe that's why they're not, because they're just doing it because the dealership said, okay, go and post something. So you end up posting pictures of cars. Like they're not really building their brand. So I'm kind of like in that pivotal moment right now where I literally just, I started my TikTok account way back. I have like 300 followers in there, but I have not been consistent with content because I've been tied up with this other project that I'm like, it's finally off my plate. So I'm like, okay, it's time for me to build my brand, for me to create content. So I kind of created a side account to experiment on Monday. It's called, like, they're both auto social gal, but the experimental one ends in an underscore.
Okay.
They're both on TikTok. And right now I'm posting the same content to both of them, but I'm really going hard on like, hey, social, like car sales women, where are you? Right? Like we want to see you. We want you to show up. And so I'm kind of starting to like solidify that, like what I want that message to be. And I kind of wrote down like really big in my notebook, like they need a leader, right? Like they need somebody that they can all go to, like, have you seen Ina's stuff? Because she's actually showing us how to show up online and keep our leads, right? Not just to be the default admin at the dealership and post pictures of cars. So like that's where I am. And I have to tell you, I have not even defined what my offers are. I have a membership that actually already sold to a dealership group because we went out, we did a training, we got like 14 people. So I'm like, okay, let me give them support. And they decided to sign up for a monthly fee. I'm just going to put them in like a circle membership. Is Circle what you guys use?
Yes.
Okay. So I wanted to kind of put them in a circle membership where I just go and give them hook ideas, content ideas, like challenges, just to like keep them posting, right? But like that's basically like my only offer right now. So I'd love to just have like, just to bounce that off of you and just to see like, what does your brain tell you where this could go? What are some questions that you have for me? Because literally I feel like I'm in the ground floor of this. I don't see a lot of people, especially a lot of women talking to other women unless they're already car sales women. And I'm not a car saleswoman, right? Like I am here like, hey, I'm a marketing strategist who knows about marketing and I serve the automotive industry. You are the car sales expert, but I'm a marketing expert. I can tell you how to do that. I can show you how to do that. So that's kind of like my position. Not a lot of people doing that. So I'd love to just open it, like throw that spaghetti at you and see what you're hearing me say.
Yeah, no, that, by the way, Ina, thank you so much for, being super open and sharing that here in the group, because this is going to help also a ton of people. Awesome possum. That's the first thing. The boss. So great. I think it's a great opportunity to be completely honest. Like same thing. Like, as you were telling me the story, the car that I have now, it was sold by a girl. And I think it was like her second car ever. And when I got to the dealership, she was almost like thrown at me because I was like, hey, I'm just looking around, to be completely honest. Like, I don't know if I'm going to go buy this. And I remember the two guys in front of it turn around, call her, like, hey, here's a guy for you. And in my mind, I was like, screw these guys. I'm going to buy a car from you. But like,
I love you so much for that, by the way. You are amazing.
And she was awesome, by the way. Like, I came for a specific vehicle that they had in that lot. Like, I knew it was going to happen. Like, but that experience was a little off. It felt very off to me. And she was a sweetheart. She was awesome. And she was like authentic. She was like, oh my gosh, like this is the second car. And it was, I was in a Toyota dealership and the car was a Jeep. And she's like, I know we're in a Toyota, but this is a Jeep and I don't know anything about Jeeps. But here's the thing. And I was already sold the day that, like, as I walked in already. So I was like, it's all good. But I think, yes, there is an absolute need for this. And I'm sure like every woman that's in that industry is a freaking badass. And I personally have not seen anybody kind of take ownership of that market. And you are on the ground floor, so you probably know more about the needs and maybe also the wants, right? Because, what are the needs and the wants of these women in the industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I got my finger on the pulse. Like I've spent the last 6 months like hanging out with these people, and I'm like, yeah, I know them. I know what they need.
Yeah. I wrote down here just for a kind of like translating what you said into a single phrase. It sounds like you have a pretty good niche, right? Very unique. But I put here, I help women car salesmen increase their lead flow with social media, right? Obviously, that is very new marketing, your I help statement type of deal. But I think that just kind of like helps me place who you're helping. Also, by you being 6 months, deep in the industry, you can probably make a list of people call it the problem undesired. We call it the PP board, right? Because it's problems and pleasure. It's just more and more fun to explain it that way.
I like that. I like that a lot. Problem and pleasure.
Yep. So it's like, just write down a list of like all these problems that you see, right? Like you're the default admin girl at the office, right? Like they don't, when they're walk-ins, they don't send them your way because, you know, maybe there's X, Y, Z reason. You want people the pleasure would be people walking in asking for you, right? Like that's what you want, I'm guessing, with what you're doing. And obviously you know way more about this, but just make that list. If you have stories, I would create just like a quick little list of what are the stories that you know that happen in the industry, so you can obviously connect them to the problems and the pleasures to talk about them. But in terms of, you say you don't have an offer, and this is 100% recency bias by what I'm talking about right now. But the more I like read about it and like look into it, I'm like, this just makes so much sense, right? And there's this guy, I think his name is Richmond Din, and he talks about, he calls them tiny challenges. And honestly, I'm like, this is the best way to just create an offer. Pretty much is offer one-on-one challenges for people that you know you can help, right? So if you already got women in your network that are car salesmen and you have, you know, a framework that you know it will help them, just reach out and be like, you know, using the same frameworks that we talk about. It's like, hey, I know you're a car salesman. I don't know if you will be open to, but I'm actually running a free one-on-one challenge. It's 5 days. You know, we can do it over the phone, and I'm just gonna teach you exactly how to increase your lead flow. So include pleasure in there. When people walk into, you're not dependent on walk-ins, but you're actually having people, you know, walking in asking for you specifically to sell them their car. And then in that conversation, in those 5 days, you actually get to know, first you're building rapport. Is a very small limited amount of time. Each day has like a little homework, right? Of like, what is the action that they need to, is action led, right? Rather than information led, is action led challenge. And like, you have them take small steps to achieve, you know, one specific result. Maybe it's for them, it's just consistency online or consistency on the content that they're creating. And at the end of those 5 days, you can present them with an offer, right? At the very first day, you tell them like, hey, look, just full transparency. At the end of these 5 days, I'm probably going to present for you an opportunity. But this is 100% free, like what we're doing. You can charge for it too if you want, like that. Obviously, you make it however you want. But you're really helping them get this result at the end of those 5 days. And then at the end of the 5 days, you can either, hey, look, I have this membership that I would love to offer, or you can, depending on the thing is, you're going to be receiving so much feedback from them on what their problems are, that you can craft an offer in there and be like, okay. And if they say no, you immediately have like, okay, well, perfect. What made you say no? What would have made you say yes? They're giving you feedback. And then for the next person, you can already kind of like, you know, recreate that offer and fix it. So if it's, you know, a coaching, you know, it can be a 6-week coaching program that you're doing. With the back end, you add them to your community. You know, that's pretty cool. And you can do multiple of these a week, actually. You know, it's not like they're going to be crazy time consuming. I've been thinking for me personally, because that's what I enjoy. I enjoy this. And I talk about this with my brother all the time. I'm like, this is what I enjoy, like the one-on-one, the having the conversation, like see how I can help people this way. So I'm like, I think I'm going to run a bunch of these like one-on-one challenges.
Tiny
like
challenges.
It would just be a lot of fun, right? Obviously you can customize in your own way and whatnot, or however you want to do them, but they're actually not that time consuming. Everybody shows up because it's a one-on-one. You know, it's like if they tell you yes, like you can do them on their time, on your time. You can, you know, find, it's not like which day of the week I have to do it so I get, you know, the most attendance. It's like, you know, does morning or afternoon works better for you? Cool, morning. All right, I'll give you a call at 10:30. You know,
I've never heard of one-on-one challenges.
Yes, and I think it's amazing. Like
it works like crazy. It works like crazy.
The guy has a book and stuff like that. I'm not gonna like send you the whole book.
Who's the guy? What book?
His name
Richmond Din.
Richmond Din. It's called Tiny Challenges, the book. But again, he's very included in like the whole ClickFunnels community and all that stuff. That's kind of like how I learned through him. He popped up on an ad, and I've been just reading his stuff and like, like logically criticizing also the model. And for me, it just makes a lot of sense. I'm like, this sounds actually fun to do. Of course, there's still, you can actually start by, if you already have a network, this is the other cool part, right? Just like the podcast. At the end of the podcast, we always ask, hey, like now that you experience this, do you know 3 other people that would benefit from this, right? At the end of your tiny challenge, you build so much rapport that even if they say no to your offer, you're like, awesome. By the way, if this challenge was helpful for you, it will probably be helpful for some of your coworkers, or other women in the industry. Like, do you know of anybody, 2 or 3 people that you can connect me with? I'm like 100% sure. In our, I mean, you experience it, right? Like when you come to a show at the end, you're like, oh, 100%. You know what? I don't have 2, I have 5. That I'm going to recommend to your podcast. So it's the same with this, right? At the end of the challenge, you get so much rapport that they're going to, hey, I'll introduce you to more people that you can do this challenge with, right? Eventually you can charge if you want or whatnot. You can always do it for free. Again, that model, you decide. Yeah. But I think it's a great model to first discover your offer if you don't have one. And second, just build rapport and like true fans, because you're just going to be building so much rapport with these people. And if you're giving them the result at the end of the week, right? Like this doesn't have to be a major result. It's not going to be like, hey, I'm going to give you 10 grand of closing in the next week. No, it's like, maybe I'll get you 1 lead. We'll do something that's going to get you 1 lead or something that is going to be whatever result, That's what you got your PP board right there, as so you can tell.
Hey.
Yeah, so I think that could be an interesting model for you to start this with, And also, I think it aligns perfect with your small audience that you've always been doing.
I'm thinking, okay, I've been writing notes on this. That is crazy. I had not thought about that. I'm gonna check out that book.
Yeah, check it out. I'm putting like a little document together from everything that I read and stuff, and like just kind of like have a kind of like a 1-pager resource about doing that type of stuff. Once I put it together, I can either put it on the
we need a space that's called Fonzie's Corner, where he can put all those amazing things.
Right. Okay, no, that is helpful.
Has to go from this
to online. Yeah,
to online.
You can just take a picture and ask ChatGPT, be like, hey, write it out.
Right.
Ask Sir, he's the expert on that end. I think part of like and why we haven't heard too much about this kind of stuff is because I think in the online community there's a fear of like doing the unscalable, right? Everybody's how do I optimize this? How do I make it automatic? How do I blah blah blah? And like the more we lean into that automation world that's coming, especially with AI that moves so fast, we're losing that human touch that is so important as well to do this kind of stuff. So yeah, maybe scaling this could be a problem for the future. But I think like you are so strong at building relationships, and you are so strong at like your unique view with social media, especially to disrupt an industry like the car industry. Like there's, there's obviously YouTube channels and things and reviews and people and like the potential of creation inside of a dealership, for example, for these women is so big, right? Like, remember the example we sent you over social media a few days ago about like this, is it almost like a mini show. And everybody thought they were women salespeople from the dealership. And it's like,
I thought so too.
Exactly. There's like for context for those like watching is like 3 or 4 women, and they do skits and these situational episodes inside of TikTok. And they're like very short little videos. And it turns out it was, I think it was like a 12-day campaign that they did. and they were actresses. They were hire actresses that were doing these skits, and they were dressed as salespeople in the shop. So people started coming to the dealership asking specifically for these women, and the people in the dealership were like, they're paid actresses, like they're all working and they had to like come clean with it. But how cool if that situation was Samantha, right? And people come like, I want to see Samantha, right? And Samantha is like closing deals left and right because of, something that she created based on, the tiny challenge maybe that you presented to them. So what do you think, like when you have, you're right there on the market, what are some of the needs that they ask you for? Like when you have conversations one-on-one with them, like what are the pain points, right? Like, I don't feel seen maybe, or like, I don't feel like, I'm like the one woman in the team of like 20 sales guy, like what is the thing?
They each have their own insecurity as to why they wouldn't do it. One that I've heard is like, I don't like how I look on camera. One person said, I don't like how I sound on camera. One person said, well, actually, when we went training, one guy created a video, his very first TikTok video, right there at the dealership, right there during the training. That video got almost 5 million views. And then he didn't post again. And we're like, what happened? And he said, my manager started making fun of me for like doing like social media stuff instead of just like being a straight car guy. So like there's all of these like outside pressures too, because it really takes a certain kind of, and you've created content, right? Like it takes a certain kind of like trying to detach yourself from the fact that people are looking at you in order to create something silly, especially if you're in public. So not everybody has that chip. So it's almost like I need to help them kind of have like different stages to their confidence, right? I'm not going to let them like go and create a skit in the middle of the dealership when there's customers walking in, and like that's like the God level of content creation, right?
Yeah.
So it's almost like we need to start with like, okay, you don't like the way you sound, you can create just do voiceovers. You don't need to use your voice, right? You don't like the way you look. Okay, start small. Start by just doing like B-roll with text, right? Start by just recording yourself like from the back or just your hands. So like it's almost like they need like those steps. Once they start like identifying like where to find these trends, because they all think also there's a couple more things. They think they need to create completely original content in order to stand out, in order for it to be good, in order to whatever. But there's like another piece to it, is that they feel, and this is a huge misconception of people who are not on TikTok all the time, is that they think they need a royalty license to use somebody else's voice, right? When actually TikTok is built on everybody using the same audio. Like you want to piggyback off of people's audios. And what they think is like, no, I can't pretend that audio was mine. So there's all of these little things that they just need clarification on and like a little push on that they just don't know. So that what do they end up doing? Just let me record a video of a car and that's what I'm going to post. So it's like, it's like that. It's like, it's a lot. There's some education, and if they're willing participants, then there's just like stages of confidence that they need to build.
Yeah. Well, by the way, this is going to be on the site, and then there's a transcript. So you can go back to this and be like, that's my offer. Like solving those problems is probably like a great place to get started. And at the same time, you mentioned earlier, like that personal brand aspect to it, like today specifically, right? I imagine this is for everything. Like, let's say you're in a company and you are the one, the face, the person that's creating the traffic and the connections, and you're online. Let's say for whatever reason, company disappears. It's almost like an insurance policy for you to then go in the same industry if you want to do that, right? So I'm imagining with like car dealerships, well, where we live, there's a street where there's like 20 car dealerships back to back to back to back to back, right? So if you become that personal brand or that asset, you build that safety net where it's like, no matter what happens in the industry, I'm going to be able to move forward because I'm just going to make an easy transition to a different dealership or to sell a different kind of car or to go and do luxury cars instead of, the regular cars. Like there's many directions that building that personal brand can be as an asset. And it's proven also that, I mean, if the market is guys buying they're probably going to be more leaning into consuming female content if they're into females, right? That knowledgeable, funny, whatever those elements do you see there are, I think is a huge advantage for them to be doing that. And then the other guys are going to be asking them questions like how they're doing.
Right. Oh, I just wrote down what you said because like it's so true. So that street in your town that has a bunch of auto dealerships, that's replicated everywhere. It's called the auto mile, right?
Yep.
And if you have, because not a lot of people are doing this kind of social media. Like I just surveyed, like just in my 5-mile radius, what the dealerships were doing, and like there's only like one guy who's doing it, and he's the owner, and it's so cringy because he's like, it's all about him, right? Like I'm the owner. It's like he wants his own TV show kind of thing. And he got a professional videographer to record it for him. So all of his online social media videos are horizontal videos.
Oh boy.
I know. And I'm watching this and I'm like, that is what's winning right now. Like that is terrible. So you just said something.
A huge gap. Yeah.
Key. Yeah. You said something key. If somebody really does this well in the auto mile, they're going to be like few and far between of you. And you're going to be the king or queen of that entire auto mile. It's not just the king or queen of your store. It's like of the entire town.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, I would definitely encourage you to look back at the recording of this because you already said a lot of problems, said a lot of desires /
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, and even I think you have the base to what could be that tiny challenge, right? Which can be, hey, I'll help you create, like in this amount of time, we're going to have your exactly what to do or exactly what to create strategy so you can start getting leads, right? And you help them with the ideation, some of these false beliefs that they need to work through, whatever it is, right? I think that's a good start, right? Eventually, maybe the end result is confidence and their first, video out, and then you can work with them, whatever that offer that you end up crafting is. But it's pretty good. I'm actually looking at your social media, both of the accounts that you mentioned in here, and you actually have some couple of videos that are pretty outliers, right? And I've noticed that some of those actually you mentioned the audience, like you're very forward with the who you're talking to. So seems like those actually are catching attention. I would obviously I need to dive deeper to see exactly what you're doing and
I think your
what is this follow up. But that's awesome. I think you got something to work with in here that can definitely get some good results.
And I think your conference is going to be a great space where you can have a lot of conversations in a very small time frame. So you have a little bit of a beginning of an offer, an idea of like what are the problems and pleasures, and then from them, I think that will be like really exciting to have, at least a group of 5 women that are doing these challenges. I mean, it's like, okay, what is a win for them at the end of the day, right? It's like, and I think you can do it. I think if you meet the people that are going to go to that conference, are people that want to get better, that are in the industry, they're already almost there, and they don't know it yet, but they need you. They need Ina to take it to the next level. But
this conversation has been amazing. Thank you guys. I really needed some brains to bounce this off. I'm like, am I making this up? Like, is this just in my head? So I really appreciate you guys. This is great. And I am going to take a look at that transcript and run it through ChatGPT like it's nobody's business.
Awesome. We're in the top of the hour. So, I mean, for those tuning in, obviously, every Thursday at 11, we just have office hours. We either can co-work at the same time. We answer questions. We collaborate. So, Ina, thank you so much. Welcome again. Yay.